Anusasanam.
Anusasanam.
Atha yoga.
Atha yoga.
Anusasanam.
Anusasanam.
Atha yoga anusasanam.
Atha yoga. Anusasanam.
Yoga.
Yoga.
Chitta.
Chitta.
Vrati.
Vrati.
Nirodha.
Nirodha.
Yoga Chitta.
Yoga Chitta.
Vrati Nirodha.
Vrati Nirodha.
Yoga Chitta.
Yoga Chitta.
Vrati Nirodha.
Vrati Nirodha.
Tada.
Tada.
Drasta.
Drasta.
Swarupe.
Swarupe.
Avasthanam.
Avasthanam.
Tada drasta.
Tada drasta.
Swarupe.
Swarupe.
Avasthanam.
Avasthanam.
Tada drasta.
Tada drasta.
Swarupe.
Swarupe.
Avasthanam.
Avasthanam.
So it's quite beautiful, the way Patanjali begins the Yoga Sutras. So in first verse says, Atha Yoga Anusasanam. So the Atha is here and now, in the moment. Let's live, let's understand, practice and follow the path of yoga, which is path of discipline. Now there's many ways to, again, depending on where we break the words and separate them, it can have different translations. In some ways we can also translate it. Once you have already mastered certain discipline, then we are ready to practice or follow the path of yoga. But to me, when I put the three first sutras together, then it sounds much more appropriate that let's begin here and now, because yoga is a journey. It's evolutionary choices, the path you choose to live. And where does that begin? Here and now. If you want to get back where you live, you have to start your journey from here. You can't start it from your home, can you? So it says, let's start that journey of yoga, journey of discipline from here and now. So let go the past, let go what happened yesterday. He said, start it from here. And to me, it's a very interesting concept and idea actually, because if you start to read some of the ideas, from that perspective, you start to judge your past, your yoga practices, your concept. Any idea can be so much more painful than actually help to lift us up. So he said, it's not about yesterday, it's here and now. And we should change, we should make these changes, we should bring that discipline, that path to begin. And he said, when you follow that discipline, when you follow that path, what happens? Your mind attains stillness. Chitta Vrati Nirodha. So your mind becomes quiet. It's all that the ripple, all that thoughts, all that constant activity is going on. And when all that inner stuff going on, what happens? We being unable to experience what is in front of us in its true sense. Now, in the chapter 4, Patanjali explains that most things we experience are actually not real. And this is why we use the word Maya in yoga, the illusion. Because what someone says to you, what you see, what you hear, what you feel, is constantly manipulated based on our old or the previous memories. So he said, when you follow that path, you become free of that mind field. Your mind becomes quiet. You're not thinking, you're not doing all that self-talk, you're not muddling into all the waves of the mind. And once you attain that stillness, what you do, he said, you become one with your own self, which we can translate as samadhi, we can just translate as perfect union, or you can translate it as you being true to your own potential. That oneness, to me, can be as simple as when you got a glass of water, just being that sip every time you're having it. It's a being in that moment. And when we can be in that moment, when we are free of all these whirlpools, all these different activities that rippling into our mind. So he said, let's follow the path of discipline, which leads us to quietness of mind, where we can see, where we can experience, or become one with our own true self. Now he says Swarupe Avasthanam. So he's saying that we each are perfect, we each are complete or eternal, we just need to become one with it. So thinking, taking the layers of the onion off. The only thing is, when you've taken all the layers off, there might be nothing left at the end. When we come to Kevala, when we come to nothingness. It's like in a yogic sense, when you say, I'm perfect, and if I can see you, I can touch you, I would say, oh, that's not true. Because the perfection, the Kevala, that the perfect liberation means you will be dissolved, you will be back to where you come from. What we see, what we experience is the evolutionary manifested aspect of that cosmic prana and the consciousness. And that's where we want to become one with it. Now, quite amazing, sometimes we think, in old time life was so great and we just got all these problems. Here, Patanjali said that's not true. Because he's written 3 verses, okay, he just says 3 things. Here we are, let's follow the discipline to attain the quietness of our mind. And through that quietness, hopefully, we can become one or true to our own potential. We can have the union. And he said, okay, that's what we want. Let's talk about now who we are. And then he just goes straight into the Chittvrti, what is going on in our mind. So he explains or he details the problems here. Now, again, the language or the words, the classification might be a little bit more extended, or some of might put them less, some of might put them more. So let's try a few of them and then we come back to talk about them. So the Sutra 4. Vrati
Vrati
Sarupyam Itratra Vrati Sarupyam Itratra Vrati Sarupyam Itratra Vrataya Panchataya Klista Vrataya Panchataya Klista Eklista Vrataya Panchataya Klista Eklista. So in this sutra he said, so why we not one, or why we not quiet in our own self? Why we not true to that potential? Why can't we have access to that union? So because we are busy, we are engrossed into Chittvrtis, all these whirlpools, this thought, this mental. So into the mind field, you can include all your feelings, your emotions, your experiences, your memories, and all that, the thoughts that constantly going on. And he used the word Chittvrti because every thought, every feeling, every emotion, you are letting the seed to take place. It will have its own series of reactions. It's like if you ever sit back, I'm not sure if you can remember when you're doing the self-talk, especially when you had a terrible day about something, or you've been through some sort of conflict. You come back home and you're just saying, this is what I could have done, and then you're answering it for somebody, and then there's somebody answering it, and all that Zen reaction is the ripples of the whirlpools. And what he says here is kind of quite interesting. He doesn't say it's negative or positive, or it's good or bad. And this is something throughout the Yoga Sutra I love about Patanjali. Not even once he mentioned that this is good and this is bad. He said, I will let you choose it. He does not say this is right and this is wrong. It's quite interesting because it's, to me the whole Yoga Sutra is self-empowering, and you can't really empower people by telling them you should do this and you should not do that. He said, here are the tools, understand them, and then make your own choice. So in the second one, he expand them a little further. He said, so these chitvritis, this thought process you're going through, either they are pure or they are impure. Now, in the sense of pure, you're reading, you're listening to the Yoga Sutra, and there's in your own mind, you answering, you processing, you reflecting on it. So there is a pure thought. Or maybe someone walks past and give you a flower. Now the pure thought of that is the experience of love or experience of that gratitude, like smile or like, oh thank you, that was nice. And then we go into what he calls the aklista, the manipulated thoughts, the manipulated experience of it. Then you start thinking, why did you give me the flower? What do you want? What is your intention behind it? Either good or bad. So there is a pure thought and there is the thought which is manipulated based on our old memories and experiences. So if just 2 minutes before I come out and give you a card or a flower, if just 5 minutes before that someone gave you a flower and straight after, can I have £100? And then after 5 minutes someone else come and give you flowers, like, I'm not taking it, because you might ask more. So that way we go into the ripple of thoughts, and it's a very interesting thing. If you look into in our relation, in our day-to-day life, when we get caught into that old experience and letting it influence our present situations or experiences, our life honestly turns upside down. Doesn't matter how much nice people trying to be around us, we're still somehow trying to find the reason straight. Or it doesn't matter how nasty sometimes people being, we're still trying to find some sort of justification or blame or abuse on ourselves, like maybe there is a reason to it. So if you can understand that there is a pure thought, or pure thought is there to help you to process or understand. If you don't have that, then we can read all this book or all these Yoga Sutras, and if you say like, oh, what did you get? Nothing, isn't it? To make it your own practice, your own understanding, there has to be the process of it. You have to rationalize, you have to put it in your own words, your own phrase. And when we can do that, it's helpful, it's meaningful. So that is your own pure thought, your pure process of it, your pure mindful. And then we have the manipulated. So he goes on to now, as we got the thoughts which are pure and thoughts which are manipulated. Or maybe I should have used a bit different words, say like colored and non-colored instead of saying pure, because otherwise you might think when I say colored, might be like, is it negative? So here he's not talking about that. So yeah, so he talks about now, as we talk about the thought or the mental whirlpool, said where do they come from? So in next few sutras he explains the source of our thoughts. Now, I'm sure you all experience that day-to-day life. Of where do your thoughts come from? I know we all think we are so great in thinking, but I can tell you 99.99% thoughts are not actually our own. They're just conditional. They're just being put into us either through the situation or sensory input or our mind input or the life activities or the memories. So when you can have your own one thought a day, you will become great genius like Patanjali. Or if you think of someone like Einstein, what did he do? He just had one thought, didn't he? Just come up with this apple drops down, and he just come up like, oh, this is what it means. I'm sure the apples would have fallen down before he come up with it too. It's not the first time apple will fall down, would it? Everything is falling down since the way the gravity, the earth has come to this form. But he come up with his own thought and an idea behind it. So let's look into the sources where this mind filled, the thought processes begins. Brahmana Vipriya Vikalpa Nidra Smritaya Pramana Vipriya
vipriyaya
vikalpa
vikalpa
nidra
nidra
smrtaya
smartaya
pramana vipriyaya
pramana vipraya
vikalpa nidra
vikalpa nidra
smrtaya
smrataya
pratyaksa
prataksha
anumana
anumana
agama
agama
pramanani
pramanani
pratyaksa
prataksha
anumana
anumana
agama
agama
pramanani
pramanani
pratyaksa
prataksha
anumana
anumana
agama
agama
pramanani
pramanani
vipriyo
vipriyo
mithyanyanam
mityayanam
matadrupa
matarupa
pratistam
pratistam
vipriyo
viprayo
mithyanyanam
nityanyanam
matadrupa
matarupa
pratistam
pratistam
sabda
sabda
jnana
jnana
anupati
anupati
vastu sunyo
vastu sunyo
vikalpa
vikalpa
sabda jnana
sabdayane
anupati
anupati
vastu sunyo
vastu sunyo
vikalpa
vikalpa
sabda jnana
sabdajnane
anupati
anupati
vastu sunyo
vastu sunyo
vikalpa
vikalpa
abhava
abhava
pratyaya
pratyaya
alambana
alambana
vrati
vrati
nidra
nidra
abhava
abhava
pratyaya
pratyaya
alambana
alambana
vrati nidra
vritti nidra
abhava
abhava
pratyaya
pratyaya
alambana
alambana
vrati nidra.
vritti nidra.
So, let's do one more. Anubhuta
Anubhuta
Visaya
Visaya
Asampramosa
Asampramosa
Smriti
Smrati
Anubhuta
Anubhuta
Visaya
Visaya
Asampramosa
Asampramosa
Smriti
Smrati
Anubhuta Visaya
Anubhuta Visaya
Asampramosa
Asampramosa
Smriti.
Smriti.
So in these 6 sutras he's explaining sort of in a nice and a very simple way the detail of the sources or the roots of our thought processes, this mind field we're trying to quieten. So the first one he says is your direct cognition, your direct experience through your sense organs or your mind. Well, that direct cognition comes from your valid experience. You open your eyes and look around and you can see there is a building there. Or the direct experience also can come, you get the map, which I haven't got it here, I had on email, you can look at the map and that gives you some valid sort of knowledge that being published. So that in yoga he used the word scriptures or the books, the authentic things that being written, being given to us. So then your direct cognition can be through, which is not you being here, but you can actually look at the map and okay, this is how I get to this place. So through the resources, through the books, through the literature, or through your friends, your teachers. So through these three different ways, we can have our own direct experience, direct understanding of things going on, and that gives the rise to its own thoughts, its own whirlpools, or your own experience. Then the second one he says is vipriya, the misconceptions. Now, in classical way, they use the example, always use the example. In India, it works. I'm not sure if it works here or not, because we have so many snakes. So if you just a little dark and little light, and you step on a rope, you just jump up and think there was a snake under my foot. Or another classical example we use is, think of a clay pot is sitting in front of you, and some of you might say it's a pot. Someone might say no, it's not a pot, it's just a clay. Maybe you got furniture in your house and you're looking at it, think, oh, it's a nice furniture. And then someone say it's not furniture, it's just the wood, going back to the source. And then someone might actually take it further. It's not just the wood, it's the bird's wood or ass wood or whatever wood, if they know about it. And then if you break it further down, you start thinking on a subtler forms like, well, it's just the mix of 5 elements. Or earth, water, air, heat, and the space, or the voidness. So the second thought process goes from what we call the vipriya, the misconception. Now, there's misconception again in our day-to-day life, I think, from our perspective. I always use this example, as it seems to be most people get it. Say you work with someone and you just fall out, and they know some of your weaknesses, and they're standing just few meters away from you and is talking to somebody else, and in between every 10 seconds or a minute or two talk, they're laughing about something, and they just had a bit of glimpse of look at you several times in that talk. And I'm sure we all do go through what they're talking about, and then that creates a whole series of thoughts or emotions we go through, thinking what they might be talking. So in that way, when we're seeing something, there is a base, there is a foundation, but we create our own reality, our own mind field around it, and that gives rise to a whole another bundle of thoughts. And then goes into the third one. He said imagining, and he said in this one actually there is no foundation. There is no word to it, there is no reality to it, there is no shape, there is nothing actually there. You're just sitting back and imagining. It's like daydreaming, thinking, I won the lottery and what do I do with it? Or I lost everything, how I'm going to cope now? But in reality, nothing actually has happened. And then the next one, he said, we have the smriti, memory. The memory of past, memory of the experiences, the learning, everything that we have been through. Now, in this part, obviously, he doesn't go much into detail, but on the chapter 4, he goes further deeper into the memory. So he also said the memory is not only what you have learned in this lifetime, but you're also carrying the memory from all your previous lifetimes. And that creates its own series or a group of your thoughts or your whirlpools. And in that idea, why he says that when you get into that, what happens? Your chitta, your pure mind is your conscious mind, and from there all these little minds start to subdivide. So in a very simple way, I can say in your own head, or I don't know where you want to think, where does your mind live, but wherever you believe in it, in that part or your whole body, you actually not one mind. That's what Patanjali says, you got millions of them, and those millions are actually constantly fighting to take over this poor body we have. They're constantly battling. I want to take over, I want to live in it. I'm the right one. I deserve it. Now, if you use something really simple example that hopefully can give you a little idea, some of the stronger minds we have, if you think of, your personality as a complete being, in that one, there is a husband, there is a wife, there is a brother, there is a sister, there is a mother, there is a daughter, there is so many minds we have, and all of them are actually playing their perfect roles. And hopefully they do, and when they don't, that's where some of the serious mental problems people face in their relations. Some of the offensive relations, they begin from when all these minds get confused. So if you look at that way, then when you're dealing with your daughter, when you're talking to her or your son, your body is completely different. And then you suddenly sit down and start to talk to your partner or your husband or your wife. You will feel how your body is actually completely changing, because the way that thought, that the mind that has taken over, it is living different thoughts, different activities, and that is changing your biology. So the fourth source of our thoughts is our memory, either from this life or old lifetimes. I don't know how far you want to go into it, but we will not go too much detail in that. And then the last one he says is the nidra, the lack of the sleep, or I'm not sure if he simply meant when you're sleeping, or he also, as the later on he explained, the sleep is when you lose the awareness of your surrounding or what is going on in front of you. So to me, it is a state of vacuum where your senses are actually taking everything, but you're not experiencing it. So you might be walking past and someone on the street said hi, hello, and you did not even notice, and the next day like, oh, I saw you yesterday in the town. Like, did we? And even you might have even said hi, hello. I had the experience with people in many times, when they actually greeted and then we walked past, and then the next day I see them in class, well, nice to see you yesterday, and they're like, what are you talking about? So sometimes we can be so engrossly caught into our mind that we lose that connection with our material reality, and that vacuum creates its own thoughts. Because the images, because of the thoughts, because all the sense input is being stored, but it's unprocessed. It's like a cup of tea on the table, but no one knows who it is for. So there is that cup of tea, all that information is in there, but your mind has no idea what it is for. So that creates its own bundle or its own category of thoughts. Okay, from here we move into now, as we talked about, so this is what we got. So he gives us a sweet, then he shows us the bitter truth, and then he gives us a sweet again. So what do we do with it? Abhyasa vairagya abhyam tannirodha abhyasa vairagyam abhyam tannirodha abhyasa vairagyam abhyam tannirodha tatra sthito yatno vyasa tatra sthito yatno abhyasa tatra sthito yatno abhyasa satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito dradabhumi satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara sevito dradabhumi drashta
Drasta
Anusravika
Anusravika
Visaya
Visaya
Vitrashnasya
Vitrasnasya
Vasikara
Vasikara
Sanya
Sanya
Vairanyam
Vairanyam
Drashta
Drasta
Anusravika
Anusravika
Visaya
Visaya
Vitrashnasya
Vitrasnasya
Vasikara
Vasikara
Sanya
Sanya
Vairanyam.
Vairanyam.
So here in this couple of sutras he's talking about, so we got all this mind filled, what do we do? So the first thing he says, do something about it, practice, abhyasa. Don't just sit on it, don't just let yourself fall into the trap or the whirlpool, because once you fall into it, it just spins, and once you into that spin, I'm not sure how many of you have been onto the roller coaster. After a minute of roller coaster, it's just like there's nothing to know, is it? Nothing to experience, nothing to understand, nothing to process. So he said, don't let yourself get caught into it. Do something about it. And again, interestingly, he does not really tell you what to do. He says, just do something about it. That do something about can be as simple as just get out and go for a walk, get some fresh air. Or put the kettle on, have a cup of tea. Or maybe go and see some friends. Or do your hatha yoga practice, do your pranayama, do your meditation. So he said, do something about it, do some practice to get yourself out of that muddled state of your mind. And the second thing is practice vairagya, which to me stop or master, somehow learn not to become victim of the situation. Try to be the witness. Because when we get caught into me, my problem, people throwing things on me, people giving me this, people giving that, when you become victim again, the experience or the clarity can never be there. So he said, separate yourself out of it. Be detached. Be the witness. Be the awareness itself. And when you separate that, then you get a complete different perspective. And he explains the vairagya as when you get to that state where everything that is going around you, material, non-material, words, or the things that can't be explained in words, when you become free from the manipulated experience of it. So if we put, let's say there's a glass of water. Now you can be detached from it when you can look at the water, or you can just experience it, but without thinking why it is there. And when we don't answer things, you know what happens? Your true answer, your soul or your heart starts to talk. It's what we call the inner answer, the instinct, the true answer. And this is where we talk about the pure thought, your own thought. But because we're talking too quick, too fast, that never happens. So he said, separate yourself out of it. It's like, to me, if you really want to take vairagya in your day-to-day detachment in life, ask yourself one question every day and don't answer it. Anything, it can be anything. It can be simply, shall I have a cup of tea? But don't answer it, and see what experience it brings. Does your heart actually say, have it or not have it? But before we say it, we generally, it's something, I sometimes also think the way our modern education and the society is infused, that the answer has to come before the question. People like to know before, like everything should be done yesterday. And I experienced that many times when I teach. If someone asks me question, I'm just like absorbed into trying to think and analyze, and before I can open my mouth, and there's some people already answered it all. And you just think, wow. Without even looking at the person who actually asked it, or what is the perspective of it, what is the situation of it. Because in chapter 3, Patanjali explains about it, says everything is perfect, but it's in one perfect place. So there is actually nothing imperfect in our life. But if we can place things into the right place, into the right time, into with the right attitude, everything is perfect. You might pick a bag of compost and put it on your bed as a pillow. It's just going to cause trouble, isn't it? But it's not the bag of compost is bad, is it? If you take it out to the plants, they'll be blossoming. Your life will nourish you. You will have a completely different experience when you walk in your garden. And that is where the detachment, this separation from the suffering, from being the victim, when you pull yourself out of it, you start to see, okay, this is what I have, and this is how I can place them into the right place, into the right perspective. And then the whole yogic and the Vedantic philosophy never talks about actually suppression of your desires, suppression of your thoughts, your feelings. It says we need to find out, we need to explore or work on how do we fulfill them. And this is why he said, so if you got thoughts, don't worry about it, do something for it, do something about it. And then detach yourself from it. Don't label yourself. To me, this is something when I think about this from a psychological and physiological perspective. See, we all go through these waves or the cycle of our mind and our chitvartis, all these whirlpools, all sorts of different mixers are there. But we become which one we associate ourselves with. So some of you have said, oh, I love happiness, I'm happy, I'm positive. I don't think that the way, if you live that outlook, you would not have problems in life. Or you would not have negative thoughts, you would not have all the chitvarti, they are still there. But you're not associating yourself with them. And then we have people who say, oh, I got this, I got that, or all those problems associating. So whichever state, the whirlpool, this mind field, you associating yourself, you gradually become that person. So here Patanjali says, detach yourself from it. Don't label yourself. Because in beginning we say, my problem, and then we become problem. So if you have associations, at least please do make sure you got some positive, some beneficial associations. So if you associate my house, at least there is something to enjoy. Don't associate my depression, my blood pressure, my heart problem. Because your body is a biochemical factory, and it is one of the most complex factory that exists in this whole universe. Now, good thing now, even the neuroscience, they have done so many studies that your body can produce anything you want. So in that way, you don't have to waste your money on drugs. You just need to put the right thoughts that creates the experience of it. And this is why some people mistranslating, oh, I can have the hallucinated experience of meditation by taking drugs, or I can meditate and have the experience, which is completely different. But your body is that amazing system. So if we are associating ourselves, we are attaching ourselves with the problems, then your body is responding and releasing the energy, the chemicals that has to correlate or bring the experience or the support that thought. And this is why Patanjali begins with talking about our thoughts. Or your body is a poor thing, it just has to respond to every thought you're putting in. If you sit there and think, I'm happy, I'm going to have a great sleep tonight, you will sleep and you just constantly think, oh, I can't sleep. Or you're releasing all the hormones in your body that you need not to be able to sleep. So he said, detach yourself, separate yourself. And that practice, he said, keep practicing it every day as and when you can. Dirgha kala. Which is quite nice to me, it's quite nice. He said, you can't master them in a minute. It need a long time. Which to me, it's a really, really great sort of like empowerment, like it's okay. And Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna says, he was talking about meditation, he said, what do I do? My mind is just all over the place. What do I do? And he said, oh, sit quiet, take your mind at the tip of your nose and watch your breath. And now Arjuna, is a great warrior. He's already attained all the yoga siddhis. He experienced everything before he come to that situation. He said, oh Krishna, please don't tell me that. Every time I'm trying to see my breath, watch my breath, I've never seen that many thoughts. It's actually more thoughts now than before. And Krishna said, no, there is not many. He's just becoming aware to them. Anyway, then Arjuna said, so what shall I do with them? He said, oh, if your mind wanders around 99,999 times, bring it back to your breath 100,000 times every day. And in that process, one day you will master it. So that simply also gives us that's the nature, inherited nature of mind we are talking about. So don't be too harsh and hard on yourself. Practice it for long period. Practice it with patience. Practice it with love. It's like your dog. If you give a bit of love and a bit of sympathy and a biscuit to your dog, it's your best friend. And if you get a stick and you're trying to tell your dog to sit quiet in a corner, it's just going to bark more. And I know mind does not like that. It does not like to be pushed in the corner. So your mind and your body are actually your strengths. They are your instruments to experience the whole life. They don't like to be pressed in the corner. So through the abhyasa, and he said through that detachment, separation, you can empower that. Okay, shall we do a few more? Tatparam Purusa Khyate Guna Vaitrasnam Tatparam Purusa Khyate Guna Vaitrasnam Tatparam Purusa Khyate Guna Vaitrasnam Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Rupa Anugamata Sampranyata Vitarka Vichara Ananda Asmita Rupa Anugamata Sampranyata Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purva Samskara Sesanyo Virama Pratyaya Abhyasa Purva Samskara Sesanyo Bhava
Pratyayo
Videha
Videha
Prakratilayanam
Prakratilayanam
Bhava
Bhava
Pratyayo
Pratyayo
Videha
Videha
Prakratilayanam
Prakratilayanam
Bhava
Bhava
Pratyayo
Pratyayo
Videha
Videha
Prakratilayanam.
Prakratilayanam.
So here he sort of takes a little further into just giving us a bit of glimpse on samadhi and expanding the concept of abhyasa, the practice, a little bit more. He said abhyasa is your reasoning, your questioning, asking yourself, when you're going through those thoughts, why? And then replacing them with the positive thoughts, the positive virtues, or the ideas that can gradually cools them or submerge them or melts those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions away. So instead of fighting with anger, instead of fighting with negative thoughts or all these things, he said, start to reason them first, because it has to begin. If you think about one of the idea I kind of like here in Vedanta, it explains, when we thinking as abhyasa to clear your mind, first thing has to begin with, in a modern language you can use the word diagnosis. So that's acceptance. Well, how would we have the acceptance? By knowing. So he said, reflect, be aware, start to look inside. And then when you look inside, before you can let go, he said that a couple of things we have to do beforehand. Now the one thing, you might reason it, you might question it and evolve through it to find out there is a solution, there is a way to deal with it. So if there is a problem, the first answer is, what can I do? If the answer is nothing I can do, if I try to do more, I'm going to dig bigger holes, as if we're trying to deal with someone who is completely unaware, insensitive either in their language or into their actions or into their words. And if you try to confront them, you know what happens next. So he said, then you acceptance, your diagnosis, then the first thing we always do is finding the solution. How can I deal with it? And if that does not work, you have to give in and give up. And that's where you can let go. You can actually come out of it. I know literally we sort of think like, well, giving up is actually a negative practice. But in lots of things, it's actually a positive practice. Because before you can let go, you have to give up. And this is why sometimes we struggle. We'll think, I've let it go. And the next day, we got the same thing again. Because somewhere deep down in our mind, we have that belief or something, we have conditioned ourselves, I can sort it out. But really, again, in that idea, into that Vedantic concept, actually every problem does not have a solution. Because some of them actually there is no problem. It's just our own perception or the situation that we are being forced into for some sort of lesson. So in that way, it's not actually a problem, it's an opportunity to grow or to learn something. So he said that every problem does not actually have solutions. Some problems, yes, they do. Other problems, you just have to grow out of it. Some problems, you just have to let go and leave it behind and wait for the time to resolve them. So he said, do your practice, use your reasoning, use your vitarka, your thought process, your conscience, the wisdom do you have. And keep replacing those thoughts with the positive, with the better ideas, with the things that lift you up. And keep doing it. As in literally, the way we translate this couple of sutras, you can sort of put the words regularity, repetition, and rhythm. So you got to keep regularly working on them, and there has to be repetition on them, and somehow we have to find some sort of rhythm. Also, our body and mind, you see, they don't like dull and boring things. So you have to create some beauty in it. This is why in the meditation tools, the widest range of tools to focus your mind are these beautiful mandalas. Or this is why the rishis, these yogis, come up with all these different Hindu gods to focus, and they all are so pretty with all these hands and limbs and head. It's just something that your mind can easily engage to. Well, like in every practice, every aspect of the gods, the way Hinduism explains, they said these are just the manifestation of your mind. Ultimately, divine is that nothingness. It does not have form, it does not have word, it does not have sound, it does not have any associations. It's free from any cause, any effect, any of that experiences. And then he says also your Purusa, the soul, the consciousness we all are, that has the same qualities. Okay, shall we try to do one more set? Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak, Itaresam, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak, Itaresam, Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka, Itaresam, Tivra, Samveganam, Asanna, Tivra, Samveganam, Asanna, Mradu, Madhya, Adimatratvat, Tato, Api Visesa, Mradu, Madhya, Adimatratvat, Tato Api Visesa, Mradu, Madhya, Adimatratvat, Tato Api Visesa. So here he really talking about the intensity of our abhyasa, or the practice itself. So he said that success in your practice, success in your goal or your journey comes when you have the shraddha, faith. Now, faith can be seen in faith in your practice, faith in the path you're following, also faith in your goal, and faith in you itself too. And in the virya, that deep in force, that interest, self-interest, self-love, I want to do it, I want to get to it. To me, I sort of think it as excitement. When you are so much looking forward to it, I'm so excited about it. It's just something drives you in it. So Shraddha and Virya, there's two together, it just invokes that excitement, something you look forward to. And when you have that, everything flows into it. He said your practice becomes intense. Even if you're doing a little bit of it every day, even that is very intense. And that can be mridu, doing it gently or moderately. I do it as and when I can. It's like how much discipline you have. It can be madhya, intermediate, just creating the time for it. So the first one is I do when and as I can. The second one, you start to create the time, the space for it. And adimatra, doesn't matter what happens, I still do it. It's like reading your favorite book. I'm sure you all will have the adimatra. It's just I want to finish it before I can even put the kettle on. And then getting your homework done, your home study or whatever, if you got some essays to write. Generally we come to the intermediate level. We're trying to create the space. And then there are things you will find in life that we do as and when we can. If we done them, then it's great. If you haven't done them, it doesn't matter. But he's talking about the sadhana, your practice that pulls you out of those mental states. So that can be mritu, that can be as and when you can. It can be intermediate where you're trying to create time, do it, and then you can be just fully in it. This is what I'm going to get through. And he said that will determine how quick you attain or achieve success in your goal or in your practice. So which also means he meant like we all are equal and we all have the equal skills, abilities and the potential to get there. Some of us get quicker, some of us take more time. It's not because you're not good or someone is too good, it's because the amount of energy they're putting in. As I'm sure we all know that saying, we get what we put into things. Okay, he sort of talks on a couple of practices here now, what sort of practices we can do as the abhyasa. Iswara pranidhanadva Iswara pranidhanadva Iswara pranidhana Dva klesa karma vipaka asaya ramrista purusa visesa visesa Iswara klesha karma vipaka asaya pramrista purusa visesa Iswara tatra nirati sanyam sarvanya bijam tatra nirati sanyam sarvanya bijam purvesam api guru kalenan avachedat purvesam api guru kalenan avachedat. So in this one here, the first practice he really talks about that Iswara pranidhanadva, offering your life or seeing your life and every opportunity as a divine blessing. So the divine, the universe is not trying to torture you or punish you or give you any pain. It's just creating the opportunity you asking for to help you to grow and experience things that you need to go through. Now, my favorite example, if you do use the credit card bill at the end of the month. But the bank is not trying to torture you, is it? They're not trying to punish you. This is just giving you the bill and showing you, this is what you have done, my dear. Can we have it back? So it's a really, again, very beautiful, actually, yogic idea that your life, doesn't matter what situation, what you're going through, still it is a divine blessing. You're not in this body, you're not in this life because you're being cursed or you're being punished. The universe or divine doesn't have that ideas. It's just giving us the opportunity to learn and grow. And now it's up to us. Either we can take it, we can grow out of things, we can learn and experience, or we can keep going round and round. And the only trouble, as in Tantra, in one of the subjects, we have the Yantra and Tantra, when it explains this life energies. Until you have learned the lesson, you paid that bill, the universe doesn't allow you to walk out of it. And you can't go bankrupt there. Doesn't matter how much we try, it will bring it back to us. So he said, start to see that divine opportunity, Ishwar Pranidhana Dva, offering your life, offering your actions, your thoughts, and seeing that divine beauty in it. And I do see that in my own life every day, whenever I go through that's something I have to deal with. When I change that perspective, I find myself, there's so much energy in me to deal with it, or my clarity or the understanding of it just changes in that moment. And then I get caught into, why am I being punished? Why this is happening with me? It's just very hard to make a good choice, or to even understand why all this is happening. And then he explains Ishvara. What is Ishvara? Because Patanjali doesn't really mean, when he talks about divine, he doesn't really mean in form of God we might think now. It doesn't mean that there's a God that you have to put your head down to feet and you have to worship and all that. And even the words sort of like, you have to surrender to the divine or God. I honestly don't ever think that Patanjali would have ever meant anything like that. But so he says that the divine he's talking about is formless. It does not have image, it does not have word, it does not have desires, it does not have any karma, it does not have any liking or disliking. And he says, when the Purusa, that the soul that is in you, that is in everything, when it attains that perfection, when it becomes free from all that Purusa, that soul is divine itself. And this is why in Sankhya, in yoga, in Hinduism, we say every soul is divine. So your soul is eternal. What you might think, like, I'm judging, or we're judging each other based on our material reality. But in a spiritual reality, we all are perfect, we all are eternal, we all are divine. All we have to do is just take these layers off. Which I guess is not easy, is it? Because we're going into the unknown, and also we're going into something we know we're not coming back. It's something, a few years back when I was in India, and I used to be monk or sadhu in mountains. Some of the morning I was doing my meditation, and that guru I had, he used to always sort of tell me, I should just give my life for a few years on meditation. I should not come out and teach, just stay, practice silence more. I love teaching from very beginning. So I used to have my morning class where people will come from local villages and just teach them. And he used to tell me I could spend that time in more meditation and I can be enlightened soon. And one day I just looked at him and I smiled and I said, but I don't want to. I said, I did not have enough of it yet. I'm quite happy to go through a few more cycles. I want to come back. So I guess, when we're taking these ideas, we also be aware when it's taking those layers off, is making your less and less reasons to come back. So we all must always think, when we're doing our prayers and meditation, we know what we're asking for. Another thing I do find with the universe, with the divine, this practice of divine living. Also, we need to be very wise on how do we ask. Your prayers need to be very wise. If you're sitting there and thinking, Divine, I love to have peace in my life. Now the divine might think, this is the universe reading you, okay, how do I give you peace? By giving you all the problems to make you strong enough to experience that there is peace is already there. You might say, oh, I want to be wealthy. The universe might just send you all the reasons that enforces you to work. So the universe might answer something completely different. This is why all the Vedic, the yogic prayers are based on universal peace, universal love. When we chant Om Shanti, 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 we chant it 3 times. Shanti for all the material, then the ethereal, the astral worlds. So all 3, Shanti, if you go into the literal translation of it, when the Guru, the Master explains, all 3 of them, none of them is actually chanting it for once, I have peace. But obviously the translation of that, when he expands into it, if everyone else around have the peace around you, you got peace. I want to be happy, just say, let everyone be happy. So every time we see each other, we are smiling, we are happy, we are lifting each other up, we are giving, sharing that uplifting, the positive emotion, or a healthy energy exchange. So this concept of pranidhana, or the divine blessing, the divine living, is actually transforming our thoughts, transforming our wisdom, these ideas into the universal, into the divine purpose. And when you start to plant those seeds, everything else around us changes. Because we are getting back what we're giving to people. And also we get back what we give to ourselves. You can either love yourself or you can hate yourself. You can put yourself higher up or you can put yourself down. This is what Patanjali, when we talk about the asana, the third limb, he literally translated it's your state of being. And Swamiji, our guru, our teacher, Swami Gitananda Giri, he used to ask that to people on courses. Tell me, what is your seat? What is your asana? Can you write a paragraph on how do you hold yourself? If you ever want to write a short essay on who am I, in my perspective, not from other people. Thanks, and we stop now. Let's chant 3 Oms.